In a previous lesson, we added the Weather API to a page and explored the API panel. Now let's take a look at how we can use that API data anywhere using the Formula Editor. Add an HTML element to display text to the element tree by opening the element catalog using I on your keyboard, filtering by typography, and selecting the element you'd like. I've added an H2 element, and here I want to show the current temperature. Click on the text node inside the element and click the FX button next to the text heading on the right panel to open the Formula Editor. You can also right-click the text node and choose Add Formula. Click on the drop-down arrow on the Value node and you'll see that you have access to the Weather API data. Click to select it. You'll now see the top-level data nodes returned from the API: is loading, data, error, and response. Returning to the API response in the API panel for a moment, we can find the current temperature inside Data, Current, Temp. And now we can drill down into that data inside the Formula Editor to display the current temperature. Click on the text node again and open the Formula Editor. Now let's drill down into Data, Current, and select the temp. And just for fun, let's join a degrees Celsius symbol to the end of the temperature depending on your API response. Click on the plus button to the right of the Weather API node and search for concatenate. Click the plus button to the bottom right of that node and replace the contents of the second field with a degrees symbol and C. Now the API data also returns an image to represent the current weather. Let's use that. In the HTML element tree, add an image element by opening the element catalog and searching for IMG. Select the image element and view the attributes panel on the right by pressing A on your keyboard. Notice the FX buttons next to the source and alt attributes of the image element. Here we can use the Formula Editor to display the image URL and the image description from the Weather API. Click on the FX button next to the source attribute. Select the Weather API again and drill down into Data, Current, Weather icons, and let's choose the medium image. You'll now see that displayed on the canvas. For the alt text attribute of the image, which is shown in browsers when images don't load or read out to assistive technology such as screen readers, we're going to use the current weather description from the API. Next to the alt attribute in the attributes panel, click on the FX button. Choose the Weather API and drill down into Data, Current, Weather Description. You'll now see that value from the API in the alt attribute field. In a previous module, we looked at the repeat formula and used it to display all items from a vegetables variable that we created using the Formula Editor. We can also use the repeat formula to show collections of data from APIs. For example, from the Weather API, we can repeat over the daily forecast data. Here's an ordered list HTML element with a list element inside it, containing an image element and a heading 3 element. Let's repeat over the daily forecast data and show the day and icon. Click the list element, view the attributes panel by pressing A on your keyboard, and then click the FX button next to repeat to open the Formula Editor. Select Weather API, Data, and Daily. Close the Formula Editor and select the image element. On the attributes panel, click the FX button next to the source attribute. Here, select Item, Weather, Icons, Medium. You can also use the item data to fill the image alt attribute like we did before. Close the Formula Editor, select the text node inside the heading 3 element, click the FX button next to text on the right to open the Formula Editor, and select Item Day. Keep in mind that anywhere you see the FX button, you have access to API data that you can use to display that data, or create your own conditional logic under which to show and hide elements, or build your own calculations based on that data.